Hey guys, I am so excited to share with you my potato soup recipe. This is one of my absolute favorites. So I'm going to start by chopping up my potatoes. I am using roughly 10 to 13-ish cups of potatoes. I'm not super particular about the size. I like to have some just a little bigger and some just a little bit smaller. Ultimately, I do want a big bite of potato in my soup. That's something I really enjoy. Get those potatoes boiling and then you can move on to cutting up your onions. So I like, again, kind of a chunkier onion bit in my soup. If you like your onion pieces smaller, if you have really picky kids, definitely cut them up smaller, but again, personal preference. So after I've cut up the onion, I'm going to work on the cheese. This is going to go on the top of the soup later on. I have roughly 2 cups of Monterey Jack and 2 cups of cheddar. Those are my favorites on the soup. I definitely think before you change it, you should try these 2. They're just delicious. I think I originally got that idea from Outback Steakhouse a long time ago. So once your potatoes are cooked through, go ahead and drain them. This is not necessary. You can keep the water and add chicken broth, but for the sake of measurements for this recipe, I am draining them so that I can kind of start fresh. Now, if you had baked potatoes for dinner last night or you have leftover potatoes, this is also the place where you can start. Now back to my pot. You can see I didn't even bother to wash it. I am adding 8 cups of water. Now this should be chicken broth. I like to use this better than bouillon chicken base. You could also use a vegetable broth or a vegetable base at this point if you want to have this be a vegetarian soup. I happen to have this one, so that's what I'm using. So I'm going to mix that in. Again, if you have like the chicken broth in a can, you could use that, whatever you'd like. Now, salt and pepper to taste. If you're using a lot of broth, you might not need all the salt, or if it's a saltier broth, you may not need it. Also, I like to add a lot of pepper, especially at the end too. So I'm going to add the potatoes back to the water. In addition to the potatoes, I'm going to add the onions. And you're going to get this cooking. You're going to want to get a nice little boil going, and the soup's going to be done, I mean, of course, when we're done with all of this, but when the onion is soft. So I'm going to add a stick of butter. Well, I'm going to melt a stick of butter. And to my melted stick of butter, I'm going to add roughly half of a cup of flour. This is going to be my thickener for the soup. And I know this seems like a weird step, but it works and it's delicious. So once you mix that together, add it to your soup that's already boiling. Now, by mixing it beforehand, you're going to prevent those weird clumpy flour balls that you get in your soup. Last ingredient is milk. I'm adding 2 cups of milk. If you want this to be a really decadent kind of a dish, you could add cream, but if you want to keep it just a little lighter, you can add milk. And that's it. It's ready to go. So from start to finish, from peeling the potatoes to this point here, it takes roughly an hour. You could definitely put all the ingredients in a crock pot as well. It's up to you. Top it with the cheese. That's the must. I also really enjoy green onions and then extra fresh cracked black pepper. Most people probably would really enjoy bacon as well. It's completely up to you. I hope you guys enjoyed this super simple recipe, and I hope your family loves it as much as mine. Happy eating. Bye, guys.